Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Shraddha's Physics. So today we will see what is Fourier integral and the Fourier transform as well as the inverse Fourier transform. In the first class, I have already told you that the Fourier series expansion, it satisfies the Dirichlet's condition. It means that the function has finite number of maxima and minima. The function should be continuous. It should have finite number of discontinuities, and the function should be square integrable in nature. So these three conditions, it should be square integrable in nature. So these are the Dirichlet's condition that the function should satisfy these three conditions, that is the finite number of maxima and minima, and it should have finite number of discontinuities, and the function should be square integrable in nature. It means that square integrable means the area under the particular curve we can find. Okay, so let us start with the Fourier integral. This Fourier series expansion, just try to write the Fourier series expansion of f of x satisfying Dirichlet's condition over certain range, that is, suppose here I am considering for minus L to plus L, that is this Fourier series expansion in this interval minus L to plus L, it can be written as, if you can remember the Fourier series in your previous semester, we have already discussed this f of x equal to a naught divided by 2, just try to write it by yourself, plus sum over n equal to 1 to infinite a n cosine n pi x by L, n pi x divided by L, plus sum over n equal to 1 to infinite bn sin n pi x by L. This is a Fourier series expansion in the interval minus L to plus L. With the value of a naught, it is equal to 1 by L times the integration over minus L to plus L, integration over minus L to plus L f of t into dt, and a n equal to, these are the coefficient, a n equal to 1 by L times integration over minus L to plus L f of t, this will be cosine n pi t divided by L into dt, where n varies from 0, 1, 2 and so on, and bn will be equal to 1 by L integration over minus L to plus L f of t sin n pi t divided by L, into dt. Also here n varies from 0, 1, 2 and so on. Okay. Now if I put this a naught, a n, b n, that is the coefficient of, these are the coefficient a naught, a n and b n in this function f of x. Now this function will be equal to, in place of a naught, I will put 1 by L integration over this much. So let us write, so this will be 1 by 2L integration over minus L to plus L integration f of t into dt. Okay, this is for a naught. Similarly, if I will put the value of a n, this will be plus 1 by L into the sum over n equal to 1 to infinity. In place of n, I am substituting this value, that is integration over, let me write cosine n pi x by L first, cosine n pi x by L into integration over this minus L to plus L f of t cosine n pi t by L. Okay, here I am putting this. Okay, now you can see here the next term, that is sum over bn sin n pi x by L. So here in this part bn I have to put, in this part bn I have to substitute 1 by L integration over minus L to plus L f of t sin n pi t by L into dt. So let me write, this will be equal to, this will be plus sum over 1 by L, first 1 by L into sum over n equal to 1 to infinity, let me write here, n equal to 1 to infinity, this will be sin n pi x by L, this term first I am writing here, n pi x by L into the integration over minus L to plus L f of t sin n pi t divided by L into dt. Simply here we have substituted the value of a naught, a n and b n from this expression, that is this coefficient we know. So we have just substituted this value. Now if you can see that in this second term and this third term, this second term and the third term, we can take common 1 by n and f of t. So let me write, the first term will remain as it is, that will be 1 by 2l integration over minus L to plus L f of t dt, it will remain as it is. Then this will be plus 1 by L taking common and the summation over n equal to 1 to infinite integration over minus L to plus L, and here I have take common f of t. So the remaining term will be, in the second term first see, this will be cos n pi x by L and cos n pi t by L. So I am writing first cosine n pi t divided by L into cosine n pi x by L. You can write cos n pi x by L into cos n pi t by L. Now in this third term, this will be plus sin n pi x by L and this sin n pi t by L remaining. So I can write here sin n pi t by L into sin n pi x by L. Okay, and here the dt term is. So let me check again. The first term will remain as it is. This will be 1 by n sum over n equal to 1 to infinity integration over minus L to plus L f of t. This much we have taken common. The second term, in the second term, this cos n pi t by L and cos n pi x by L, plus in the third term this will be sin n pi t by L into sin n pi x by L and whole into dt. So here you can see that this is in the form of cos A into cos B plus sin A into sin B form. So here we can put cosine A minus B form. So let me write again. The first term will remain as it is, that will be 1 by 2l integration over minus L to plus L f of t dt plus this will be 1 by L sum over n equal to 1 to infinite, again integration over minus L to plus L f of t is here. I have to write cosine A minus B form. 1 is your cos A, let me write here cosine, this one is your suppose A, that will be taking n pi by L common, I can directly write it as t minus x, t minus x. This will be exactly n pi t by L minus n pi x by L. So taking n pi by L common, so this will be t minus x into dt. You can write it here, that is what we have substituted, cosine A minus B equal to cos A into cos B plus sin A into sin B. Okay, I think up to this much is clear. We have just substituted the value of cos A minus B. Now let us consider that this value L, it tends to infinity. Let us consider that limit, so that the limit will be this minus L to plus L this limit will varies from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, this will be minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, now if I put this n pi by L term, let me show you this n pi by L term present here. I want to put this as omega. So I can write here, let us put, just write, let us put n pi by L equal to omega. Taking the derivative of the both sides, this will be delta n into pi by L. This will be equal to delta omega. This will be delta into omega. You know this delta n, it is equal to 1. Why? Because this n, when we are writing the sum over n equal to 1 to infinity, in that case this n varies from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, so that this delta n means the difference between n1, that is n equal to 1, 2 and so on. So this delta n means the difference between these two is 2 minus 1 is 1 or 3 minus 2 is 1 and so on. Okay, so we can put this delta n value to be 1. Okay, here I am writing delta n is equal to 1. That's why delta n, since delta n equal to 1, you can write this pi by L equal to delta omega. Okay, or we can write it as 1 by L equal to delta omega divided by pi. Now since L tends to infinite, I can consider that this 1 by 12 integration over minus L to plus L f of t dt will goes to 0. Why? Because you can see that if I will put this L value to be infinite, then 1 by something is 1 by infinite is your 0. So that this term goes to 0. And again, in place of sum over n equal to 1 to infinite, what we can put? This can be written as the sum over, in place of n, what I can write? The value of omega here we are converting. So this value will be when n equal to 1. You can see here, when n equal to 1, this omega value will be equal to pi by L and it will vary up to infinite. I can write this expression as in the form of the integration. I can write, because if I will put the L value to be infinite, then this will goes to 0. So this will varies from 0 to infinite. And this will be your d omega. Here I am writing it is over delta omega. So that if we will convert this summation over delta omega, then it will goes from integration over 0 to infinite d omega. So let us put all these things in the above equation. So in this equation you can see that in this term, when L goes to infinite, the first term goes to 0. Okay, this term goes to 0. Let me write the whole equation first. Our equation is f of x equal to, here I am writing this f of x equal to 1 by 12 integration over minus L to plus L f of t dt plus 1 by L integration over minus L, summation sum over n equal to 1 to infinite, sum over n equal to 1 to infinite, again integration minus L to plus L f of t cosine n pi by L whole into t minus x whole into dt. This is our last expression. Now you can see that here this first term which varies minus L to plus L f of t dt, this term goes to 0, since we are considering that our limit, that is minus L to plus L, to be, it is minus infinity to plus infinity. Here we are considering for this interval because L tends to infinity. When L tends to infinity, this 1 by infinity goes to 0. That's why this term goes to 0. So the remaining term will be this much. Now if I replace this in terms of omega, then I can write it as, this will be equal to In place of 1 by L, what I can write? This is our delta omega by pi. So I can write this as delta omega divided by pi. So let me write the term 1 by pi first, because this summation sign we have replaced this by delta omega or omega. Sorry, we have replaced it by omega. So this will varies from pi by L, omega equal to pi by L up to infinite, and here we have to write delta omega, because 1 by L is delta omega by pi. So this delta omega by pi is present here, and this summation sign goes, and then again the integration over minus infinite to plus infinite, because in place of L we are putting infinite. Then this f of t cosine, in place of n pi by L we have considered omega, so this will be omega t minus x into dt. Okay. Now here I will convert this summation sign for omega to 0 to infinite d omega. Okay. So this will be f of t equal to, I can write, sorry, f of x equal to, here I am writing f of x, this will be equal to f of x equal to 1 by pi times this integration varies from 0 to infinite, and this delta omega now d omega. Again the integration varies from minus infinite to plus infinite, f of t cosine omega t minus x into dt. Okay. Suppose this is my equation number 1. This is suppose equation 1. Suppose I am considering some term that is 1 by pi times 0 to infinite d omega integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of t. In place of cosine I am choosing here sine omega of t minus x, omega whole into t minus x into dt. Suppose this is some equation 2. This equal to 0, this equal to 0 as equation 2. Okay. Why this is? Because this, you know, this equation, that is this integration f of t sine omega into t minus x dt, this integration obviously goes to 0. That's why I am considering this as the, you can see this total term in the equation 1. If I will consider this second equation as the imaginary part of the first equation, then I can add these two equation, because this term in the second equation, this term goes to 0. So I can write as f of x equal to this term in the equation 1 plus iota into, if I will multiply iota term also here, then the value will, this function will remain the same. So if I will write these two equations combinedly with the imaginary real part and the imaginary part, the equation will be like f of x equal to 1 by pi times integration over 0 to infinite d omega integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of t into cosine omega into t minus x dt plus iota, here I am writing the term iota, divided by pi integration over 0 to infinite into d omega. Again the integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of t sine omega t minus x into dt, t minus x whole into dt. What I have done, I have just combined these two equations, that is we have combined the imaginary part of f of x and we have just added these two terms. Now this will be the expression, this is my expression, final expression. Now if I will take common, that is 1 by pi terms get common, integration over 0 to infinite get common into d omega, again taking common minus infinite to plus infinite integration This is over f of t. I have taken common. So the remaining term will be like cosine omega t minus x. This will be t minus x plus iota term is present here in the second term, plus iota sine omega into t minus x, and finally the bracket close, this will be dt. So in these two terms we have taken common, and finally our expression will be like this. You can see here this bracketed term is in the form of cosine theta plus I sin theta form. This cosine theta plus I sin theta in the complex analysis we have already discussed, this is equal to exponential I theta. So I can put this value here in place of this. Here theta is equal to omega into t minus x. Okay, so let me put this. So our final expression will be equal to 1 by pi times integration over 0 to infinite d omega integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of t. In place of this bracketed term here I am writing exponential iota, in place of theta I am writing omega t minus x into dt. Okay, here you can see that this d omega integration, this 0 to infinite d omega integration, I can write it as 1 by 2 of minus infinite to plus infinite d omega integration. If I put this here, this will becomes 1 by 2 pi times the integration over minus infinite to plus infinite. Here this exponential I omega t minus exponential I omega x is present. Exponential I omega t into exponential minus I omega x is present. So if I will take this exponential minus I omega x here into d omega, again this will be integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of t. This exponential is a function of t, so here I am writing exponential I omega t into dt. This is our f of x. F of x equal to this much. I am writing it in the next page. F of x equal to 1 by 2 pi integration over minus infinite to plus infinite exponential minus I omega x d omega into integration over minus infinite to plus infinite exponential I omega t into f of t dt. Okay, so from this expression if I will put, let us put, if I will put, I am writing just here, put 1 by root over 2 pi, 1 by root over 2 pi integration over minus infinite to plus infinite f of x exponential, sorry, f of t, this is f of t, f of t exponential I omega t dt is equal to, suppose here I am writing this is f of omega, capital F of omega here I am writing. So this is nothing but this term 1 by root over 2 pi, if I will multiply 1 by 2 pi, I can write it as 1 by 2 pi equal to 1 by root over 2 pi into 1 by root over 2 pi I can write. So this 1 by root over 2 pi times exponential I omega t f of t dt over the integration minus infinite to plus infinite, I am writing it as f of omega, and also I am writing, if I put this in f of x, this will be f of x equal to 1 by root over 2 pi times, this will be 1 by root over 2 pi times integration over minus infinite to plus infinite, this term f of omega into exponential minus I omega x into d omega. Clear? This is simply, this 1 by 2 pi is simply 1 by root over 2 pi into 1 by root over 2 pi. Okay, so in this place 1 by root over 2 pi we have substituted this f omega term and nothing more. Now you can see that these two equations, this equation suppose 3 and this equation suppose 4, these two equation 3 and 4, this f of omega in this equation, this is called, this f of omega, here I am writing f of omega is called Fourier transform of, this is called Fourier transform of f of t. And similarly this equation 4 is called f of x is called here, f of x is called the Fourier inverse transform, Fourier inverse transform of f of omega. Okay, just try to box it. This is my Fourier transform of f of t, and the second one, that is the fourth equation, it is called the Fourier inverse transform of f of omega. If we will compare these two equations, you can see that, suppose consider this equation 3. In this case, this f of omega, this f of omega, it is called the Fourier transform of f of t. It means that in the first class that I have already told you that we are transforming. If I am in the domain of the time domain, then I want to change it to the domain of frequency domain, then I am using this Fourier integral. This integral is basically known as the Fourier integral. This integration or this integral is known as the Fourier integral, and you can see that this exponential I omega t term, this exponential I omega t, this is called the kernel. If you can remember, in case of Fourier integral, we have considered this kernel k of t omega, here I am writing, this is equal to here exponential I omega into t. This is called the kernel. This is the kernel of Fourier transform. This is, yes, this is for kernel of Fourier transform. Just try to write, this is the for Fourier transform. I can generalize these equations. You can see here in this equation 3 and 4, this t and omega, these two terms, these are called the dummy variables. Dummy variables means in place of t and omega, you may write a, b, c, d, x, y, z, whatever you want. So these are the dummy variables. So you can replace this t and omega in terms of any other variable. Suppose I am writing, if I am replacing this dummy variable, I can write this as, in general expression I can write, this is suppose for Fourier transform I am writing, this will be f of k, let me change the color, f of k, this will be equal to 1 by, this f of k, here I am writing f of k equal to the first equation, 1 by root over 2 pi, in place of omega I am writing k, okay, 1 by root over 2 pi, integration will remain as it is, minus infinite to plus infinite, f of x, in place of t I am writing x into exponential I omega, sorry, in place of omega I am writing k x into dx. In place of t I am writing x, and in place of omega here I have substituted k. You can see these two expressions, these are the same, but here the x and k, if I will consider this x and k, these are the other domain. This, if I will consider that the k is the wave vector or x is the position, this is the position coordinate, then this is in one domain and this is in the other domain. K is in wave vector domain and x is in the position domain. If I will consider in the term of t and omega, I can say that this is in the time domain and the omega is in the frequency domain. Okay, now for the inverse transform, I can write this f of x will be equal to 1 by root over 2 pi times integration over minus infinite to plus infinite. This f of omega becomes f of k exponential minus iota. In place of omega I am writing k into x, and in place of omega here also I have to write dk. So these are the basically general form of Fourier transform. This is the Fourier transform and this is the Fourier inverse transform. In this case, kernel is exponential ikx. In this Fourier transform, you can see that this exponential term represents the Fourier transform, that is exponential ikx. So what we are basically doing, if the function is in the, if this function f of x we are defining is in one domain, then we are just trying to convert it into the k domain by using the Fourier transform or by using this Cornell exponential ikx. And similarly, if the function is in the k domain, if it is in the k domain, then by using this exponential minus ikx, we are converting this or we are transforming this in the x code, x domain. Okay, this is x, this term is x, and this one is k. I think up to this much it is clear to you. These are the general expression for Fourier transform and Fourier inverse transform. This is all for today. If you have any doubt at any point, can ask me in the comment section. If you like the video, can give a like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Jai Jagannath.